If you're in the market for a subwoofer, I'm sure you may have come across one of the Klipsch products. And so today I have here the R121SW. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the build, quality, design, the sound quality, technical specs, how to connect it, and then I'll give you my final impressions. I have timestamps, so feel free to skip ahead to what interests you the most. It is a 12-inch sub. As you can see, the design is pretty square. Then behind it is ported as you see here. And then you have the gain, low pass filter, power on, off, auto, phase switch, and then the line-in RCA ports, then the power ports. Unfortunately, this RCA port happens to be the only connection, and so you don't have a high-level input like other subwoofers do have. So if you really care about high-level input, then this may not be for you. But in terms of build, you can see the wood here. Klipsch says it is made of MDF, so all the wood grain that we see outside here is a vinyl cover, but it looks really nice. Look at the fine details of the wood. And then the front is this cloth grille that you can easily pop out. Just like that. Then you can access the 12-inch driver, which looks absolutely stunning. The driver is beautiful. The whole copper design blends very well with the black. Previous models, you would see the bolts here. Now they've eliminated it all completely for the R121. And I'll compare this to the R120, and then you will see what I'm talking about. And then that's the power light indicator. So basically, it's just this giant box, very big, not necessarily for small spaces. In terms of technical specifications, this sub has a frequency range between 28 Hz to 120 Hz, and then a maximum acoustic output of 118 decibel. So that is about 2 decibel higher than its predecessor. And it uses a digital amp, which is good. It has a peak wattage of 400 and then an RMS or continuous wattage of 200. So that is very powerful. It is a front firing speaker, even though it is also ported at the back, and you only get line level RCA inputs. In terms of height, it's about 16.6 inches. That's about 421 millimeters. And then the width is about 16 inches. The depth is about 19.7 inches, which is about 500 millimeters. Overall, the weight is about 35 pounds, which is equivalent to about 16 kilograms. So it's quite heavy. Another thing I need to mention is that one of the RCA inputs is LFE. So if you wanted to just use a single channel, you can use the LFE. And that would mean that you have to turn the low pass filter all the way to 120 Hz. You can decide to leave it on auto, which means that it will go off by itself. When you put it at on, it means it's going to be on all the time. So my advice is to put it on auto. And then the phase switch, depending on where you put it, it can be 0 degrees or 180 to have a better interface with your sound system. Let's talk about the overall performance in terms of the sound quality. This sub is a beast. Now the levels you saw is just where I keep it, very, very low, and yet literally shakes up this whole house. The EQ is flat. I'm using that with the sound bar, so the EQ is flat from there, and yet the amount of bass this pushes out, frankly, if you have a very small space, you have to keep it very, very low. And this bass is very clean. One of the cleanest bass that I have listened to. In terms of music performance, any genre at all, you will not be disappointed. Same way when it comes to movie, especially if you are an action movie lover like myself, those explosions are going to be a hit. And let me warn you ahead of time, your whole building will be shaking up. If you have neighbors, you have to be mindful. Generally, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons of this. Let me start with the cons. Obviously, the size. It's big. So this is not for small spaces. If you don't have enough space, it may be too big for you. If you don't have a lot of space, go for something smaller, maybe an 8-inch or a 10-inch. I know they have a 10-inch and an 8-inch, so maybe one of those. But this particular one is big. The second con is the fact that it only has RCA line inputs. You don't get any high-level inputs. For me, I don't mind, but if your system only has high-level inputs, then it means you have to find a converter, convert that to RCA, and then be able to use that. And the other con, which actually should be a pro, is the amount of bass it puts out. If you live in an apartment, you have neighbors, you may annoy them a lot of times. Yeah, these three cons. Now when it comes to pros, the bass, it will not disappoint you. Don't worry about whether it can hit 20 hertz. The human ear can only hear up to about 40 hertz. So, and the design, it's absolutely beautiful, at least to me, and it's very minimalist compared to previous versions where you have a touch of copper all around. This is much cleaner, and so I prefer that. I would do a comparison of this with the R120 because I have that also sitting there somewhere. And then the LFE also allows you to use AV receiver you're using or a soundbar to control the bass EQ instead of it being done using your frequency regulation behind it. Let's talk about the price finally. Now this retails for around $600. Now you can be able to get it for about $350 on Klipsch website as a Black Friday deal, as well as on Best Buy. So if you really want to get it, this is the time to get it. Otherwise, the price goes back to about $600. I'll put links to Klipsch website, Best Buy, and Amazon in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're going to get one of these. And if you have any other questions that you think I did not touch on, I'll be happy to answer you in the questions. And just any comments are welcome. Thank you for always being supportive. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video.